that I'm going to give you a bit more an insight in the next 30 minutes about the thoughts Mirko had, we had, when we started the Lighthouse program. Because, as I said, Lighthouse is not just a product suite, it is also some, it is also some philosophy we are transporting with our products. Let me jump in a little. This would be good. So, why have we started the Lighthouse program, as Mirko explained? Well, yes, of course, to some extent we are continuing our traditional products, and there is a need, and you are very much relying on us to continue the development, the maintenance of our existing product suite. But of course, there is also much more than just maintaining the existing products. It is that, having some delay here, the world is much more changing than it has before. And within this world, the question is, what is with the mainframe, what is with our traditional, with our well-known kind of data center operation that we are doing for decades, very likely. So let me start with some figures to explain our thoughts why we started the Lighthouse program. If you see, the first figure is good news. It's the worldwide growth of servers is unstopped. In fact, it is accelerating. From 2015 to 2022, the number was growing from 54 million servers worldwide by 45%, almost doubled the number of installed servers. And I think this is matching with our gut feeling experiences that IT is anywhere. IT has become part of private life, of business life. So there is probably no concern from anybody that IT might become less important in the next years. But what we also see is that with this importance, it is getting more complex. You see that large companies, in a study, they answered that large enterprises follow a hybrid cloud strategy, where you had in the past the Windows supporters, the SAP hothouses. It's not so easy to answer. We have 56% strategy where we are supporting mainframe platforms as well as cloud systems, for example. This is less important for smaller companies, so mid-sized companies and smaller companies are also seeing that, but it is not so much in their focus. But for us, and I'm expecting you to belong to the large enterprises usually, for them, hybrid cloud solutions and answers to those questions are key, are mandatory. Another statement here is that SaaS is becoming a daily business. 70% of all business apps are already based on SaaS, and this represents a 10 times increase compared to 2015. So SaaS is not just something that is to be seen as a licensing model or so. It is affecting the trend to SaaS, and we will speak about this a little bit later with our technology teams. SaaS is for us, but also for you, affecting the way how you use the IT solutions. It is a maintenance promise from the vendor. It is, on the other hand, it is an acceptance of giving up the responsibility for the maintenance, for the operation of solutions from you. So SaaS is not just technology. SaaS is really a business model for us as well as for the customers. And last but not least, having another look to technology, 90%, 89% of all companies are using container technologies in their data centers. So we are not experts. Of course, it is still to some extent new. Well, 1/3 of the companies asked is confirming that they are still in a test or in a pilot phase. But overall, the trend to containerize data centers is not disputable. And I have a personal bet that, and we will come to the question of installation of our software, that in a couple of years, the containerized deployment will dominate our customers' concepts. So, what does that mean? What does the four figures I presented to you, what do they mean for us as, and I'm assuming you are as well, mainframe supporters, mainframe fans, mainframers by heart? First of all, it means that the complexity is growing. Yeah, in the good old days, I think by wording we can understand how we looked at the IT world. We had the mainframe, and we had the distributed world, which was by naming was saying this is not really a core. If you are distributed, it's sort of the outskirts. Yeah. We had the mainframe, and we still have the mainframe. But we must understand, and we accepted that already decades ago, Unix and Linux servers were completing the IT landscape for mainframe computing. And we reacted all together, you as our customers and we as Beta Systems. We adapted this new landscape and provided non-mainframe software for the core applications. Then the Windows systems came. I can tell you at Beta Systems, Windows was a very controversial discussion, if this is serious IT or more entertaining technology. But in the meantime, I have to say, of course, Windows has a large share. Very reliable software solutions are running on Windows servers. So yes, Windows has joined the orchestra of IT platforms. SAP, always very special, but also part of the entire IT, must be recognized as a main player, must be accepted to be served by our enterprise IT solutions. And this was for a long period of time. This was our understanding of IT landscape, having those ecosystems from some vendors like SAP, having Unix, having Windows, and of course, having the mainframe. But it started already that the servers are no longer physically available. You can't touch a single server with ESX system virtualization. It became less important where the server is located, what the server really looked like with regards to hardware. It was more a logical entity. And this continued by using co-location data centers. I just read a statistic that co-location is more successful than ever. So joining infrastructure in order to avoid costs for power supply and ventilation and so on, this is obviously something that is valuable for you as a company. But then with the co-location, the idea is close to come to infrastructure as a service. The first cloud systems showed up as you can rent a server whenever you like, you can switch it on, you can switch it off. So from there on, the world was designed slightly new. We had the first public cloud applications, we had the ecosystems to be moved more to the cloud from S3 to S4, and then we had the invention of container solutions with Kubernetes as a new environment to be served and to be covered by our solution as well. So for us as a vendor, this means quite a lot of chances, but also quite a lot of challenges to get the new complexity covered, because it means we have altogether, you as customers, we as vendors, must allow the orchestration of this diversity of platforms. We must see how we can manage data and services. And probably the next 2 days, we will also speak about the trend of some companies, many companies, to say, I'll take off the applications from the mainframe, put it into the cloud, put it to some Unix servers. if you go to the root cause, it is more the question, where do I want to manage my data? Which services am I expecting from which platform? So it's not a religious discussion if you prefer the mainframe or the cloud. It is more the question, what is the most suitable way to do that? But also we as vendors, known for decades for excellent mainframe software, we also must question if certain applications, certain features are right positioned, if they are operated on the mainframe, or if we shouldn't better switch to the cloud systems. And the new competence centers Mirko just mentioned are helping us, of course, to answer these questions. And last but not least, speaking about compliance. Compliance is one of the big drivers in your corporate IT, if you like it or not. The auditor is a frequent guest in the data centers of today. And whatever we do, we must be aware that we are compliant with the current regulations. And by the way, they are getting more and more every day. So let's check on what is about this trend, this diversity, this complexity affecting the mainframe. Well, first of all, and we have these discussions also here in Beta Systems, I can confirm the mainframe isn't dead, and he won't be dead tomorrow. We see this in our conversations with our customers. We see this in the conversations with the IBM and other partners. Because you can see that still 68% of all IT workload is processed on mainframe computers. If you take the numbers of mainframe installations compared to its importance in the overall workload, it's overwhelming. The mainframe is still the backbone, is still the heart of many companies' IT. And 71% of the Fortune 500 companies use a mainframe. On the other hand, we shouldn't stay in the good old days. If they were so good, it's up to you to value that. But we must recognize 60% of all corporate data is already stored in the cloud. And that's not a big surprise, because tell me the company who is not using Office 365 or has put his mailing services into the cloud. And 48% of all companies plan to move half their apps into the cloud in continue. But there is not just growth for these platforms. There is, of course, also, there are downturns, there are threats for the platforms. And on the mainframe side, it is very clear that we are speaking about some change in generation for the colleagues operating on the mainframe. You keep that in mind when we speak about EMA trainings and services from our side for your mainframe teams, because 62% of all companies confirmed that they are facing problems in staffing the mainframe team. There are much less mainframe experts on the market today compared to the need for such forces. For the cloud, the concerns are more to the world. The more, of course, security aspects can cause serious problems. But there are, of course, also answers, I have to say. It's not that we should be easy in saying, no, we are not using cloud applications because of security restraints. That would be much too easy and would not be fair to the cloud platforms. So the assignment for Beta Systems, and one of the core thoughts of the Lighthouse program, was the assignment we got from you as our customers, that you're saying, I don't want to get rid of the mainframe, but I also want to be open to utilize the benefits from the cloud. 74% of the companies interviewed by a big report were confirming that the mainframe is still a part of their long-term strategic ideas. And they also confirmed that more or half of them wished to have the mainframe as part of their hybrid IT infrastructure. So understanding the need to grow, to open, to enhance our mainframe capabilities, this was clearly a command for us to think in the Lighthouse generation how to integrate us, the mainframe, into those new scenarios, how to comply in such moves. So how can we be secure? How can we be transparent? How can we be auditable in what we are doing in hybrid cloud scenarios? And of course also how to innovate, because the good news from us as big fans, as big supporters of the mainframe computing is there is so much new coming from the IBM the past years, from platforms like ZZX, like Zoe, like ZOSMF, that we must check every day if the new capabilities can be utilized in our products in order to provide value to our customers. The core idea behind the Lighthouse program is to remain with the good ones and the expected reliable software we have provided for decades, and to grow it to the new needs. So in the center, although in this slide on the left side, in the center of our thoughts will be and are always the products for on platform Z. Yeah? So all the experienced Beta-log Z, Beta-job Z, Beta-doc Z, or if you are a long-term fellow of Beta Systems, Beta 92, 93, 48, all these products will continue to exist and to serve the purposes you know already for a long time. But we have to check all together if the platform ZOS is for the individual functionality the right place to execute. So already with the invention of ZZX, we get the option to have very close to the mainframe a new platform where we not just can run ZOS native applications, but we can containerize applications like front ends, reporting systems, monitoring systems. And to do so, of course, our products must be compliant to container concepts, and we must, for the standard products, for the backbone products, for our back-end systems, we must provide APIs that allow the interaction with the non-ZOS platforms. So having this thought in mind, it brings you very quickly to the cloud, because what is possible on a ZZX system is also possible on a Linux One concept with an OpenShift container system, where you can, of course, also run containers. If the responsibility in your company is not so much with the mainframe team and the ZZX platform, but more to a Linux One system, do it. Yeah? Our products must be prepared to make this move. And the same, of course, if you can do it on a mainframe hardware with a Linux One strategy, you can also use standalone Linux servers for getting the same results if this is organized differently in your organization. And in the last step, of course, why shouldn't this go directly to the cloud with our solutions? Putting the front-end applications, the reporting into cloud applications, and having still the crown jewels, the data, the back-end systems on your mainframe system. That is the imperative for us on the development of the Lighthouse generation, to open up our products for new use cases with more flexibility, more compliance, more usability. And what is possible with our solutions is, of course, also possible with third-party applications. So if you have data consumers that are relying on information from our back-end systems on the mainframe, we can take the moves we are developing with the Lighthouse generation the same way like our own front-end applications to cooperate between the two IT solutions. So the Lighthouse program has different levels. That might be confusing in the first run for you as our customers, but of course it is showing that we are complete in our view to the market, because it all starts with new products I already just mentioned when speaking to Mirko Minich. We have grown our portfolio with the ANOW workload automation system, and there will be, if you have joined us at HOT conference or in some of our webinars, you probably have heard about the new project coming from Beta Systems beginning of next year, the LogNow observability platform, working with log files, metrics, traces for better operational AI ops concepts in your data center operations. Besides the new products, of course, we have for the existing products a lot of new modules. On the start, Mirko mentioned them already. If we are speaking about out-of-the-box log management for leading workload automation systems like Control-M, Stonebranch, Atomic, AWS, you name it, we all have for that on the LogX platform standard concepts to have quickly implemented compliant log management solutions for these third-party workload automation systems. We have what also Mirko mentioned as a starting point, the Gates operator for Kubernetes environment, the cloud connector that is opening up a very successful and very important for many customers Job Z workload extension, so to say, which is already dealing in large companies as the scheduling extension to all the platforms from SAP to Windows to Unix, Linux. This is now with a cloud connector. You can also orchestrate processes in the Kubernetes environments. If they are on-premise used in your data center or in the cloud, it's up to you. But we have integrated the Kubernetes platforms to your corporate-wide scheduling concepts. And last but not least, beta control. After this session, I can tell you, Sven is already waiting backstage to give you a better idea about beta control and what beta control can do for you to make your operations more smoothly, more reliable, more transparent, more professional. Besides new modules, we also are adapting in the Lighthouse program new technologies. I already mentioned there is ZOSMF. We started with the installation, I can spoiler already, but it will continue. ZOSMF with the service catalog is providing much more options for us and for you than just the installation part. I know it is from the old fellows, it is watched carefully because it looks like it's just a GUI for the ones who are not familiar with TSO. But I can tell you, you are slightly wrong if you just reduce ZOSMF to this feature set. There is much more in it. Let us surprise you on this. We speak about ZZX, the invention of a container platform close to the mainframe itself was a very, very important move from IBM to do that. And last but not least, S3 as a more or less industry standard for archiving technologies if it goes to the cloud and to the ELK stack, or if it is just as an interface for hardware suppliers of archive media. This is the support of that interface is imperative for many of solutions. And besides these line items, we of course are serving more than 400 enhancements and new features in the standard product. We probably won't be able to mention this all in the 2 days now. We are just speaking about 168 new customer requirements we implemented in the first release of the Lighthouse generation so far. So summarizing this in a word, the new products help us to build a new workload automation suite which is no longer just limited. It is, of course, supporting the mainframe, but it is coming by nature as a cloud-native application. It is supporting all the worlds for workload automation, log management, observability. We are providing new modules for cross-system connectivity. We have already provided with the first release, and we will continue to do that. More APIs you can utilize for building solutions, more agents, more readers, in order to cover all the systems and platforms of the growing hybrid IT scenarios in your company. We will observe and adapt carefully new technologies on the platforms, on the systems, to make use of these options in the middleware, in the operating environments. And of course, and this is a promise, I hope beta systems had made in the past 4 decades and will keep it also for the next 4 decades, we will continue to optimize and extend our existing products, the one who are backbone of your IT operation, also for hybrid cloud use cases, but also for your daily business. We won't continue to listen to your requirements if they are just small enhancements to make your life easier. We won't forget about those beneficial aspects besides the big strategic topics. So we will speak in the next 2 days a lot about the first release of this new generation. The version 8.1.0 has started on the 30th of June this year. And since there are, as I said, more than 400 features we have implemented there, we can't speak about this, and it is very hard to keep track of all the aspects of improvement we have implemented in that version. So just if you want to summarize, just remember that all the 400 features are serving stability, compliance, connectivity, efficiency, usability, and flexibility in various dimensions. Sounds a bit abstract, sounds a bit, very high flight altitude. The next 2 days will help you to get a better understanding on down-to-earth arguments why the version 8.1 is really helping you to do a better job in future. Just here to spoiler and to pull the legs of my colleagues, I just disclose some of the highlights we would like to point out in the next 16 business hours when we are here broadcasting from our studio. Besides these features in the product, as Mirko mentioned that, there are of course capabilities, features we have implemented that are valuable for all the products. And I would like to spend the last 5 minutes of my presentation on those general aspects we implemented for the entire suite. Speaking a little bit about the standard container deployment, this is just an intro for that. We will have later on larger sessions with our technicians to speak about the container deployment. We have the support of ZOSMF for the mainframe products, and of course we have the promise to provide APIs to all major Better Systems products. Looking to the standard containers for a second, there might be some of you who have joined our tech forum conferences or joined some webinars where also customers were speaking about realized container deployments. And you might wonder, why are you pushing so hard on the container deployment if this was possible with Symfony products as well? The challenge is that there is a difference between a container deployment and a container deployment. So what you have seen in the past in Symfony was that some customers, with the assistance of our professional services teams, were taking the standard installation, putting it into a container, and bringing that container in a customized format on their individual container pod for its operation. What you must understand is that this is highly individual and very much relying on your individual project. So the standard Better Systems responsibility stops more or less at the point where you have executed the installation package. With our new concepts in Lighthouse, we will provide standard container deployments. You can get these standard containers in certain marketplaces, in container registries, and you can rely on the fact that there will always be the newest with the least vulnerabilities equipped version of that container, which is including the maintenance responsibility for any middleware enclosed in that container installation. And you can take that container version and directly apply that to your operative container pod. So, of course, the reach for our standard product has grown tremendously. Our promise towards the maintainability of your solutions has extended to the most important part, the part of container generation. This is just initial to give you an idea why we think that this is a very important message in the Lighthouse generation. We will come back to that later in a couple of minutes or hours, speaking about the technology and all the aspects of that. The second and last part I would just like to point out is the installation. I mentioned already, I personally think that ZOSMF provides a lot of options and value also to your installation, but we started with the installation on ZOSMF. And just to see the advantages in Symfony, and everybody who is doing the installation of our products will know and perhaps will have a grin smile on his face for that. So up until Symfony, you had to do a Windows installer version to configure the file transfer of the installation packages to the host. There, the installation rexes were tailored, were adapted to your individual need, and the installation was done. A very proprietary, hard to audit and hard to check installation process. With the Lighthouse generation, we will provide installation packages as usual, but you're not going to do this via a Microsoft installer, but you will open up on ZOS, the ZOSMF browser interface, and there on specific customizable workflows, you will tailor via the ZOSMF system your individual configuration for the installation, and then these scripts will take the installation package from the dedicated source, which could be in your environment, it could be in future also in the cloud, directly to the ZOSMF system. So, error-prone, less auditable, the old installation concept, less transparent and need of a lot of experience are good arguments to have a look at the new installation concepts in the Lighthouse program. I'm already 1 minute beyond my appointed time, so I will speed up a little bit. Trying to give a summary. Perhaps when you followed me the last 30 minutes, you will understand how big Lighthouse is in various dimensions. So, trying to summarize in 4 sentences our intention and the results we achieved. The world is changing. It's becoming more powerful. It is becoming more complex, which is good and bad at the same time. With the Lighthouse program, Beta Systems enhances and adapts its portfolio to the needs coming from this changed world. The traditional mainframe-based products will be maintained, will be kept, no need to worry. We will not drop the mainframe. Beta Systems is mainframe by heart. And we will open that to use cases for the integration with new solutions, with cloud solutions. And last but not least, what we are not touching the next 2 days, at least not as a focal topic, is with our new approaches in workload automation. We are serving the need of the existing customers, so it's worth, even as a mainframer, to have a look at ANow or LogNow. But we will also address new customers with our software standard deployment versions, as well as becoming a SaaS provider for the new products.